Older women disappointed because dating men ain't going their way.
Okay, let this be a cautionary tale for older women who are getting onto dating apps after maybe like a recent divorce or something. I matched with a guy on Hinge over the weekend and I thought, oh, okay, he's attractive enough. And his profile was kind of interesting. It said something about like, I'm partially feral, but I clean up nice. He had pictures of him riding horses and in a cowboy hat, although those weren't like all the photos, but that was some of them. And I thought, okay, that's kind of cool because you're the one thing about me is you're never going to catch me out with a doctor or an attorney. I like more interesting men than that. And so I was like, well, I'd seen his profile maybe like 6 times, and I thought I kept skipping past it, and I thought, well, maybe the app knows something that I don't, and we're like highly compatible. So I just sent him a message and said, I know you've seen my profile as much as I've seen yours. Maybe we should stop skipping over one another and just talk and see if we get along. Like, because I've seen your profile 6 or 7 times and that's unusual. And he matched back with me and we started talking, and he had a very strong personality, as you would expect from somebody who was a little bit different on their profile. I like a strong personality. I don't want somebody that sits and talks about politics or anything like that, but I like somebody who is confident. I like somebody who's opinionated, but knows when to control their opinions. So I wasn't surprised that he was like that and like a really big, like free thinker. So we talked and it was fine. Actually, it was a little slow moving for a couple of days, but over the weekend we really started talking and I thought, oh, I actually like I'm drawn to that personality type. And we really hadn't talked much. Like I think one night we were just both home on like Friday or Saturday and talked for a couple hours through text, nothing else. And he was not very forthcoming about what he did. He told me what he did for a living. I did think that didn't suit him. I thought it was kind of weird. And he was like, no, I had a career beforehand. And he just wasn't very forthcoming about it or where he had lived or any of the things. He said he had traveled all around the world and he just wasn't forthcoming about it. And so I'm not thinking it's that weird. I just think he works in a certain line of work or did. And so I'm like, okay. He says to me, when we have a telephone call or we meet in person, you can ask me any questions that you want and I'll be completely forthcoming. I'm just not going to put it through text or whatever. And we talk and he gives me the impression, I make a couple of jokes about it. He gives me the impression that yes, he is somebody who has worked in an interesting field, potentially for the government. And his degree would back that up. He has a very weird degree. And so, I'm still trying, he's like pushing me to meet up with him or to call him on the phone. And I was like, listen, I'm just never going to call you on the phone. And I'm never going to meet up with you in person if I just know nothing about you. I don't know anything about you. It's never happening for me. And he was like, listen, I don't like communicating through text, but I'm willing to compromise. That's what all of this is about. It's not my favorite form of communication. So you can put yourself in a little bit of an uncomfortable situation and give me a call and I will answer any of your questions. And things just got like a little weird. They got a little bit tense. And at another point, I said to him, hey, what's your last name? And I was creating his contact in my phone because he has a very, very like common name. There must be 40 of them in my contacts. But I said it this way on purpose too, because I wanted to see what his reaction was to me asking for his last name. And I never hesitate if somebody asks for mine, because if we're texting, you already have my phone number and you already have my first name. So it's extremely easy to just get somebody's last name. And so he wouldn't give it to me. And he said something about like, oh, we're a little early on for you to be asking for my last name. And I said, well, I'm just making your contact in my phone. So you will be this person from Hinge forevermore, because we both know I'm never going to go back and change this. And I said, but I also have your phone number and your first name. So if I really wanted your last name, I could just Google it. Like, I did this for a living. I ran background checks for a living for a long time, and no one at my work had to teach me how to do them because I came in knowing how to do them. And so anyway, so I got suspicious. I mean, the long and short of it is I got a little suspicious, and I was thinking about calling him, and I did kind of have interest in him. So I went ahead and I looked him up, and I found that he did exactly what he said he did for a living. That was all I found of him on the internet, was one photo. It was for the company that he works for. It's a European company. And that was it. And I was like, okay, everything he's saying checks out. It really does. And so, and it's a weird company. It almost seems like a fake company, which again, checks out to like kind of lines up with a lot of people that I've dated. So I'm like, But at another point in the night, I went back and I looked again and it pulled up a mugshot. And I'm looking at it and it's really old, like 20 years ago. And I'm like, is that him? And it's like the most attractive mugshot you've ever seen in your life. He looks like he's in some European boy band from like the 90s or something, like he's Rick Astley or something. And I'm like, that is him. I know that's him. And it would check out. It would check out that he was that cute when he was younger for having the ego that he does now. So I click on it and I'm kind of like a little bit nervous. And, whatever. I pull it up and it's a charge for possession of, it's whatever, of gardening. And I think, well, it happens to the best of them. He was a kid. No big deal. But I did get a little bit of enough of a scare that I was like, you know what? I should go to the courthouse and pull the court records and see if there's anything else here. When I tell you it was as long as this, I am not kidding. And it stretches over the course of 18 years from other things like schmeth. And there was a schmocking charge recently and a domestic one and all sorts of stuff. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And when I tell you, ladies, he did not seem like the type of person to have something like this in his background. I was so shocked. And I'm just sitting there and we're talking. Like we're texting. And I texted him and said, so what were you going to tell me about in that phone call, period? And I said, so disappointing. And he said, whatever. And I blocked him on everything and unmatched from him. But let this be a lesson to never get complacent in checking people out and verifying. Trust, but verify who everyone is.
When a woman hides who she really is, the worst thing that happens to the guy is that he gets catfished. When a man hides who he really is, the worst thing that happens to the woman is she could die or be assaulted. This isn't me being a pick-me, just look at the data. No honest man will have any hesitation answering your questions or moving forward at a pace that makes you feel comfortable. Don't give a guy a pass if his answers aren't reassuring you. It's not worth the risk. Older women are not in demand at all. Men are doing 40, 50 age gaps.
So there's this guy, I've been into him for like 2 years, okay? We had this textuationship going on. We've never met in person, but we're in the same business. We're in the same crowd of people. We know that each other exists. We just haven't taken this connection off the ground. So 2 years ago, we start talking, things are vibing, and he's going away, okay? He travels a lot. So he's going away, and he says when he gets back, he's gonna message me, we're gonna set something up. Then he goes on vacation, and he's talking to me on vacation. He's messaging me, and it's like really good. It's flirty, like we're vibing. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy must really like me because he's messaging me on his vacation. Like how interesting. I would also say that this guy is like, he's like my type. He's like a silent killer. You can tell there's just something about him that screams like voraciousness. So anyway, we're messaging not a lot, like just enough to keep the interest going, and he's being really flirty, whatever. It falls off. He comes back. He never messages me to set something up, and I lose interest, okay? It just kind of falls by the wayside. So fast forward. It's like minus 15 right now. Fast forward to the time I called him out because he tried to come back in and message me like a few months later, like nothing happened. And I was like, what happened to us getting together? He's like, oh, I'm just not like that. He's like, I just don't like pursue that hard. And that's really not the way I like. That's how I know if a guy's into me, is it being pursuant, right? Like that's how it works. So I kind of get the ick because I like want a guy who's like into me. He knows what he wants. Let's set it up. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like that's my attitude. And I could tell this guy and I have a lot of the same goals. We're both very business minded. We likely like both don't want kids. Like that's I guess like the nature of probably what got us talking in the first place, is that we're very similar in that regard. We both like to travel. We both like the sun. So then after I call him out, he falls off again, probably scared of me at that point because like I was so direct, and I was like, hey man, like peel it back. But at that point I thought I killed it. I was like, okay, whatever, on to the next. Then we start messaging each other again. Super textuationship vibes. It's flirty, but this guy isn't like taking the reins and like asking me out, and I'm like, he must be intimidated by me, but do I really want to be with a guy or like be involved with a guy who's that intimidated by me? No. You need to have that kind of like power to override that in my world, and whatever. Okay, so he's like messaging me here and there, like nothing crazy serious, and it's kind of turning me off. Stop trying to dance around it. Just like you have to like rip the band-aid off and go for it. And I'm like leading him to that point. I'm like leading him somewhere where it's very easy for him to just take a shot. He doesn't bite. He doesn't bite, and I'm like over it. Okay, so time goes on. About a year ago now, so this is a year after we had started talking. We started talking again, but this time he mentions that he has a girlfriend, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And he was like commenting on some other like failed relationship, juicy gossip from me. We're like kind of commiserating over that, and I just found that conversation weird. Like, I don't know why you're telling me you have a girlfriend. I wasn't being flirty, but it's like he messaged me just to tell me that, but we weren't in like a phase where we were like talking to each other like that. So it was kind of super weird. Then a couple months go by, and he messages me like late at night one night, like asking me all these like philosophical questions. And I'm just like, I can't figure this guy out. Is he laying the groundwork for something? I have no idea. Couldn't figure it out. Those questions were really strange. Again, I just let it go. Last night, I sent him something that reminded me of him. It wasn't flirty. It was just something that we talked about before. It's not awkward or weird. Like we have this like open dialogue of like funny real estate stuff that we share with each other. So he responds right away, and we're like kind of laughing, like making some industry jokes, whatever. And then he comes on super hard. He makes a remark that shows me directly that he's certainly still into me. And this takes me by surprise because it's out of the blue. I technically initiated things, but like I didn't expect to get that kind of reaction. And I was into it. I was like, okay, finally, like he's like really like taking the reins here. Maybe he's like being so direct with me. So for once and for all, we can like establish what's going on, because it's been like a couple of years. Anyway, I'm really into this guy. I think that we could have like a really cool sort of, I don't know what it is yet, but we've got a really good vibe about it. And my impression of him, like he seems fun. Like we've never met. I know he's like a verifiable person, but we've never met. But he seems like he could be fun, but he's super serious. So it kind of left off with me not really knowing like what to say, because I was so taken aback by his forwardness. But I still wanted to like communicate that I was like interested. And it's like, man, these two grown people are playing so many games. Like I could see why he's a little bit intimidated by me, because he knows a little bit about like the guys I've talked to or like been romantically involved with in the past, and it's not pretty. And I genuinely think like he likes me as a person, and he wouldn't want to, you know, inflict that same sort of pain on me. But anyway, yeah, last night I kind of left it open-ended, because I didn't know it was going to be like that. But I was intrigued, and I don't know how to like carry it over. I guess now I think the right thing to do is just like see if he messages me now, because I think he's hot. And I know he thinks I'm cute, at least. So, I don't know. He might watch this and say, wow, finally I have some direction. I don't know. I don't know how in tune he is with my socials. He's probably watching. Oh no. Oh well, good. Ask me out.
He's not intimidated. As a guy, we play it coy because if we show too much interest early, we risk disappointment when she friend zones us. That's part of the problem. Everyone's dating defensively. No one wants to take real risks because it could result in getting hurt. Men learned the hard way. Show genuine enthusiasm early, she loses interest or labels you desperate. Invest heavily up front, she takes advantage or friend zones you while using your attention. Be vulnerable about your feelings, she sees weakness and attraction dies. Pursue aggressively, you're too much, too intense, creepy. So men adapted by playing it cool, withholding investment, keeping emotions guarded, and matching her energy rather than leading with ours. We protect ourselves by not showing our hand until we're confident she's actually interested, not just enjoying the attention. Women do the exact same thing. They don't show genuine interest because they don't want to seem too eager or lose leverage. They keep multiple options open to avoid investing in someone who might not choose them. They test men constantly instead of being authentic because vulnerability feels risky. They guard their feelings until they're certain he's committed. The result? Both sides playing defense, neither willing to be genuine first, everyone waiting for the other person to prove themselves before risking real investment. Dating becomes a strategic game instead of authentic connection. No one's willing to be the first to be vulnerable because modern dating punishes vulnerability. Show you care too much, you lose. Be too available, unattractive. Invest too early, you get used. So everyone stays guarded. Relationships never develop depth, and people wonder why nothing feels real anymore. This is the culture we created, one where self-protection matters more than connection, and everyone's too scared of getting hurt to actually try.
So if you know me, or if you follow me, or if you followed me for a while, you know that I'm fine single. And that everyone on dating sites, they're giving me the ick, even ones that are not like the ones I post, because I post like the worst ones of all. But there have been two occasions this week where I've had like, I don't know, like, and stay with me, where I've had like thoughts that, oh, I missed that, or I missed this. So tonight I went to Publix just to get something for dinner real quick. And as I was loading my groceries in my car, I didn't have a lot, like I didn't even need a cart, I had a basket. I got in and I was pulling out of my spot and driving home, and the Publix is so close to my house. But I was like, oh, I miss being a passenger princess. And I'm not a princess, and I'm not saying I am, but I don't know, I miss like my ex driving me around. I just do. And I don't know, I know that sounds stupid. And can I drive myself around? Absolutely. It is no problem, and I do. But for some reason, I don't know. And then I went somewhere today. I mean, not today, this week. I had a doctor's appointment. And when I was driving by it, I drove by something that reminded me of one of my exes. And I don't want to be with him at all. But I was like, oh. And it brought back like a flood of memories and kind of some what ifs. And again, I don't want to be with that person. And I don't want to just settle so I can be a passenger princess. I don't want people to misunderstand. But I don't know, like those are two things that hit me this week for some reason. And I'm okay single. Like right now, I'm completely fine. I'm hanging out with my dog, who's chewing his bed as if it's a stuffed animal. But I don't know, strange. It hits at weird times.
She's an older woman saying everyone knows she loves being single and everyone on dating apps gives her the ick. So why is she on dating apps if she loves being single and everyone there disgusts her? Let me translate what she's actually saying. I'm single, coping by pretending it's a choice, but I'm still on dating apps hoping to find someone, except no one meets my impossibly high standards, so I get the ick from everyone to protect my ego from the reality that quality men aren't choosing me. She doesn't love being single. She's settling for being single because she can't attract the men she wants. And rather than admit that, she's reframing it as a preference while simultaneously staying on apps and complaining that everyone gives her the ick. Here's the reality. If you genuinely loved being single, you wouldn't be on dating apps. You'd delete them and live your single life happily without seeking validation or options. The fact that she's still swiping while claiming everyone disgusts her reveals the truth. She wants a relationship, but she's so picky, bitter, or unrealistic that she finds fault with everyone to avoid confronting her own undesirability or impossible standards. The ick is her defense mechanism. When men don't meet her fantasy requirements, or when quality men aren't interested in her, she dismisses them as disgusting to protect herself from acknowledging she's not attractive enough to the men she wants. She's an older woman with a shrunken dating pool, inflated standards, and zero self-awareness about why she's alone. Claiming to love singleness while actively seeking someone but rejecting everyone is pure cope. If she actually loved being single, she'd live it instead of complaining about dating apps.
Okay, here are some reasons you would want to date me. I love to people watch. If you like to people watch, we would be a very good pair. I love to go to like anywhere. Disney, Disney Springs. I'm not a big Disney girl, but Disney Springs, and watch people. There's so much to see. Really anywhere. And it just made me think of it because I am parked by a lake by my house, and just watching people walk by and on their phones and the way they act and stuff is fascinating to me. You have to like psychology. If you like psychology, you're going to like, you would want to date me. If you like moody teens, I'm your girl. I have a moody teen. If you like iced coffee, we can go get iced coffee together. If you don't, you can get a hot coffee and we can sit together and have coffee. If you like to walk, I love to just walk. The lake by me is beautiful and it's fun to walk around. If you like comedy movies, comedians, comedy shows, I love the theater, Broadway. I've mentioned that before. Dogs. I'm your girl if you like dogs. What else? I don't know. But if you like those things, you're going to like me. Cheers.
Now, she made a video about wanting men. Wait, how come she suddenly wants men if she loves being single and everyone on dating sites gives her the ick? Because everything she said before was a lie, a coping mechanism, a defense to protect her ego from admitting the truth. She's alone, she doesn't want to be, and she can't attract the men she wants. Here's what actually happened. She posted about loving being single and getting the ick from everyone. That was her protecting herself from the pain of rejection and loneliness by pretending it's a choice. But the loneliness eventually broke through the cope, and now she's admitting what was true all along. She wants a man. She wants a relationship. Being single isn't actually fulfilling. The mask slipped. Now she's publicly contradicting herself, and it exposes the entire game women play online. Claim independence and satisfaction with being single to avoid looking desperate or undesirable. Get the ick from everyone as a defense mechanism to avoid admitting quality men aren't choosing you. Eventually, the loneliness becomes unbearable and the truth comes out. You actually desperately want what you claimed you didn't need. This is textbook cope collapse. She can't maintain the I love being single narrative anymore because the reality, loneliness, regret, biological clock, watching everyone else partner up, is too painful to ignore. So now she's making videos about wanting men, directly contradicting everything she said before. She's embarrassing herself by exposing that her previous confidence was fake, her standards were defensive posturing, and her love of singleness was pure delusion. She wants a man. She probably always did, but the men she wants don't want her, so she's stuck making contradictory videos while remaining alone.